What if I told you that one of the biggest entertainment empires in the world didn't start in a boardroom, or with venture capital funding, or even in Hollywood, but in a small bedroom in Watford, England? A teenager, a game console, a cheap camera, and a YouTube account? That's it. No investors, no business degree, no master plan. And yet, from that bedroom, Olajide Olatunji, better known as KSI, has built a $200 million empire that spans music, boxing, fashion, and one of the fastest growing beverage companies on the planet. On the surface, it looks impossible. How does a kid screaming at FIFA packs turn into a mogul sitting at the top of multiple industries? But that's the magic of the internet age. The rules that built Coca-Cola, Warner Brothers, or Nike don't apply anymore. Today, empires are built out of attention, and KSI might be one of the greatest case studies of turning raw attention into a business machine the world has ever seen. Let's rewind. In 2009, KSI was just a teenager in school uploading FIFA clips to YouTube under the clunky username KSI Olajide BT. The videos were pixelated, the commentary was chaotic, and the editing was non-existent. To most people, it looked like a hobby, a distraction. Teachers thought he was wasting time, family worried he was delusional, and classmates saw him as just another kid trying to be funny on the internet. But behind the laughter and chaos, there was something different. KS. I had an energy that cut through the screen. He wasn't the best gamer. He wasn't a professional editor. But he was magnetic. His laughter, his over-the-top reactions, his willingness to be ridiculous, those were his weapons. While other FIFA channels focused on skill or tutorials, KSI leaned into entertainment. He didn't care if he looked dumb. He cared if you couldn't stop watching. His upbringing added another layer. His parents, Nigerian immigrants, valued education, stability, and traditional success. To them, gaming videos on the internet weren't a career. They were a distraction from schoolwork, from grades, from a real job. KSI's father was especially skeptical, pushing him to focus on studies. Arguments at home became common. His dad wanted him to pursue something steady: law, engineering, medicine, anything but this strange new world of uploading clips to a website nobody in his family understood. And yet every night, KSI snuck back onto his computer to edit, upload, and grind. He would record late into the night, whispering commentary into his mic so his parents wouldn't hear. When he got caught, he'd promise to stop. But the next night, he'd be back at it again, clicking upload, even though he knew only a handful of people might watch. Most kids would have quit under that pressure. KSI doubled down. He wasn't just uploading, he was studying, analyzing which jokes landed, which clips performed, which thumbnails got clicks. He was doing YouTube science before people called it an algorithm. He'd spend hours watching other creators, American gamers, UK vloggers, even random comedy channels, and then break down what worked. Why did they get more comments? Why did their titles pull in clicks? Why did people stay longer on certain videos? His school notebooks, filled not just with math problems and history notes, but with scribbles about retention graphs, upload consistency, and ideas for new FIFA skits. The obsession came at a cost. His grades slipped, he skipped social events. Friends couldn't understand why he was spending hundreds of hours shouting at a TV screen. Teachers warned him he was wasting his future. But KSI had this gut feeling, something he couldn't explain even to himself, that if he just kept going, something big would happen. He wasn't chasing fame. He was chasing mastery. And then, the first small sparks appeared. By 2010, a few of his FIFA pack opening videos started catching attention. Comments trickled in. People started sharing his over-the-top reactions, laughing at the way he'd scream when he got a big player. For the first time, strangers, not friends, not family, not classmates, were enjoying what he made. That validation was fuel. By 2011, the numbers began to rise. Hundreds of thousands of views, then millions. Suddenly, KSI wasn't just a random kid uploading into the void. He had an audience. People began subscribing not for FIFA tips, but for him. His personality was the product, and that changed everything. But here's the part most people forget. Those early millions didn't come overnight. By the time KSI hit real traction, he had already uploaded hundreds of videos, hundreds of hours spent grinding, experimenting, failing, and trying again. Most creators give up after 20 uploads. KS. I kept going for years before the breakthrough came. That's the difference. He didn't just want to play FIFA, he wanted to win YouTube. And slowly, that bedroom in Watford stopped being just a bedroom. It became the launchpad of a career that would one day stretch far beyond FIFA, far beyond gaming, and far beyond YouTube itself. Then came the Sidemen. In 2013, KSI teamed up with Simon, Ethan, Harry, Josh, Vic, and Toby. Together, they formed what would become the most powerful collective in European YouTube history. At first, it was casual, friends hanging out, making videos. But quickly, the synergy became undeniable. Their group challenges, football matches, and sketches pulled in audiences that none of them could have captured alone. And here's the genius. Instead of cannibalizing each other's audiences, they built a shared universe. If you liked KSI, you'd discover Simon. If you watched Ethan, you'd stumble onto Harry. Each member acted like an entry point to the whole ecosystem, and that ecosystem grew into a machine. Their group channel started pulling in millions of views per video. Their annual charity football matches filled stadiums with tens of thousands of fans, raising millions for good causes while showcasing their brand power. Sidemen wasn't just collabs, it was infrastructure. They built Sidemen clothing, a fashion line that became a staple among fans. And then came the wild card, boxing. In 2018, KSI challenged fellow YouTuber Joe Weller to a fight. What seemed like a gimmick became a cultural event. Thousands packed the Copper Box Arena in London. Millions watched online. KSI won convincingly. But more importantly, he discovered something. Spectacle sells. That led to Logan Paul. Twice. The first fight in Manchester ended in a draw, but broke records for amateur boxing viewership. The rematch in Los Angeles was sanctioned, professional, and streamed on DAZN. The Staples Center sold out. Millions tuned in worldwide. KSI won, but the bigger win was what it did for his profile. Suddenly, he wasn't just a UK YouTuber. He was an international name. But the most important part wasn't the fight. It was the leverage. Those bouts catapulted him into mainstream recognition. In the US, sponsors, brands, and networks started calling. His music streams skyrocketed. Sidemen viewership surged. Everything fed into everything else. And then in 2022 came Prime. KSI and Logan Paul, once bitter rivals, teamed up to launch a hydration drink. At first, the internet didn't know whether to laugh or take it seriously. Two YouTubers launching a sports drink? It sounded like another influencer gimmick. But Prime wasn't a gimmick, it was strategy. From day one, they positioned Prime not as a small startup, but as a competitor to giants like Gatorade and Powerade. They signed deals with Arsenal Football Club, the UFC, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. They got distribution in Walmart, Target, and Asda. The branding was sleek, the flavors hit, and the marketing was genius. Every YouTube video, every Instagram post, every boxing promo became an ad for Prime. Prime wasn't just a drink, it was culture. It became part of schoolyard trading, part of meme culture, part of influencer economy. KSI and Logan didn't just sell a beverage, they sold belonging. And for KSI, Prime was the final evolution. YouTube gave him an audience. Sidemen amplified it. Music legitimized it. Boxing globalized it. Prime monetized it at a scale that most creators could only dream of. By 2023, KSI's empire was valued at over $200 million. But the real story isn't the number, it's the system. He figured out how to turn attention into equity, views into ownership, memes into millions. So what can we learn from his rise? Attention is currency. KSI's entire empire is proof that making people watch, even if they laugh, criticize, or doubt you, is the foundation for everything else. Without attention, nothing else matters. Collaboration scales faster than competition. The Sidemen showed that creators working together can dominate in ways solo creators can't. 7 voices amplified into one brand, louder than any of them could have achieved alone. Reinvention is survival. KSI has been mocked at every stage. When he left FIFA videos, when he released music, when he stepped in the boxing ring, when he launched a drink. And every time, he proved the doubters wrong. Equity beats endorsements. Instead of selling ads for other people's products, KSI built his own. Sidemen Clothing. Prime. Ownership means the profits don't stop when the views dip. And obsession beats perception. People laughed at his FIFA videos. They dismissed his raps. They rolled their eyes at his boxing. But obsession outlasts ridicule. If you keep showing up, eventually, what was once a joke becomes undeniable. Today, KSI is more than a YouTuber. He's a global entertainer, a businessman, a cultural force. He's living proof that in the digital era, the path to success doesn't go through universities or corporations. It goes through persistence, creativity, and the guts to take risks that look insane at the time. The kid from Watford, who once argued with his parents over wasted hours on FIFA, is now co-running a beverage company, outselling sports drink titans, topping music charts, filling arenas, and scaling a media empire with his friends. And here's the paradox. KSI built a $200 million empire by being underestimated, by turning ridicule into leverage, by turning rivals into partners, and by turning raw attention into the most valuable currency of all. Because KSI didn't just build an empire. He built a playbook for the next generation of creators. Proof that empires aren't built in boardrooms anymore. They're built in bedrooms. If this story made you think differently about what's possible, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into real success stories, and drop a comment with your biggest takeaway from KSI's journey. I read every single one, and your idea might just inspire the next big story.